Hey,
Hey, Sam Lily. How's it going?
yeah, it's going good. Yeah, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. Yeah. How was your big travels?
Mhm. Yeah, it was very fun. I liked it a lot. I guess yeah, both Singapore and Beijing are new places that I'd never seen before. Uh, and yeah, they were kind of similar in some ways, but Singapore stood out as a pretty amazing place.
Mm.
Just yeah, from like almost odd because like you like people there's been like funny quotes that say that Singapore is like Disney World with armed guards, but then going there like it is like Disney World, but then I never saw I think a single like cop or police or any armed guards, and like not even that, like no fire trucks or ambulances like going around. It was just like very clean and like crime free somehow. And then
Huh.
like train coverage, yeah, like all these, the nice highlights are like train coverage everywhere, pretty much, I guess, in the country, kind of because it's a small country. And then the trains just go by like like hundreds of high rise like apartments, communities, all like sort of connected to by train. And then a lot of like waterside walking. Like there's a giant bay with these gardens. I in one of my YouTube videos there was like the cloud gardens, and there's all this like there's like miles of walking trail all around like the bay there with nice like visuals on the horizon because of those like cloud garden buildings and like modern buildings downtown, like like massive like sprawling malls that are connected to each other, sometimes like underground walking ways, or there's a large like underground tunnel to the subway station and across kind of a section of downtown with like shops, like kind of like shops that sell bread and pastries and lunch, like good lunches and coffee and boba, uh, and then a bunch of like nail places and like skincare places, which are like everywhere, but not part of what I can make use of. Uh,
Uh-huh.
and then yeah, I guess like a little bit expensive. Like if you go to the some of the gardens in the zoo and stuff, there's like there's like a regular zoo and then like a water-based animal zoo and then like a tropical bird area and gardens, and sometimes you pay like 50 60 USD for like each activity in a place. So like you go to the
Mm.
zoo and it's like it's regularly expensive, but then there's like a second sort of also large animal place that you can like pay again for. And even the cloud gardens was like there's like three, two domes and the super trees, and each one of them is like 20 30 bucks. So you sort of, if you want to be like a completionist and do everything, you can really rack up like a large bill. But uh,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's good or bad. I guess each individual thing is kind of expensive, so it sort of does feel like Disney World in that way. Like you can like spend a lot on some attractive things. But then there's like the Singapore Botanical Gardens, and there's a Japanese garden, Chinese garden, all in this fairly large place, like south of the zoo, I guess, north of the downtown. And you could
Mm.
just, we took the train there like one day, and I kept expecting to like, it's like, okay, for this next part of the garden, I expect like a to pay and enter. And then we just never did. Like it was totally open to the public. And it was like this massive sprawling like gardens that you just walk through completely free. And we got like boba ice cream at one place, and there was like a Starbucks when we got off the train, got some Starbucks, started walking around this like massive garden that has so many paths in lots of different directions and different areas, and like water features. And then along this one river, all these like meditation stations, almost just nice little like minimalist wooden huts with roofs, and there'd be like a medium-sized rock in the middle of each one that, I don't know, you could like look at or sit on or sit beside. And I think they had phone chargers in there too, but they were all like on this quiet like river stream where it was clear, like, if it's like a hot day, you just come to this free park and just relax in the shade of these little huts on the river. uh that felt very like a very nice relaxing place. uh
Yeah, that
and
sounds
and then I guess
lovely.
yeah, and then but stacked on top of all that, I guess it's a country where people work long hours, or perhaps like 6 days a week, and I'm sure like school is hard as well. So then I wonder,
Mm.
like the citizens of Singapore, I don't know how much they get to relax and enjoy Singapore. at all. I think they're just kind of like going to and from work, long hours. Maybe their living is decent, but like a train ride away out of the city, even though there's like lots of nice buildings out there. We started wondering like if we wanted to like move there for like a year or two, like if I could find work or maybe study there, do like a master's or something, if that would be, I think that would be like a decent deal. Like if I was enrolled in some kind of academic program there, the challenge would be like getting my cat there. And if it's for a year, maybe I would end up like trying to figure out some situation for my cat. But that would be kind of fun because I don't think I could tolerate like working in a place that's very like hard on the workers. Because
Yeah.
because also, yeah, you wouldn't really have time to like do anything in Singapore. Uh, but
Yeah.
we
Take advantage of
investigated
all
like
of it.
rent briefly. Yeah, I guess if you get like a medium, like rent is not insane. I think it's maybe either the same or maybe a couple hundred less than like you'd find in the big cities in America, apparently. So yeah, so that was all like a really interesting experience. Then it was funny like going to Beijing right after and kind of being like, just expecting similar, like a big city with a train connected with like landmarks and parks and stuff. But in comparison, like I guess Beijing being like the capital and stuff, it had like even more cops and security cameras than you'd like stereotypically expect of China. And like every time you get on and off the subway, it's a metal detector, and they swipe you down with like those white like wands, and they check your water bottles, and you X-ray your bag like every single time you get on a subway. And then if you go to like a museum, you go through a metal detector, and they check your passport. They check your passport for like if there's like a $10, extra paid exhibition inside the museum, they check your passport again because I think actually your passport's like linked to your ticket, but they're constantly like IDing you and uh, like checking you and scanning your bag and looking at your water bottles. And interestingly, if you have an American SIM card, it doesn't appear that the internet is like censored at all. You can use all the Google services, and you can look up like information that they clearly would censor on the Wi-Fi. But yeah, if you connect to like any Wi-Fi, then you experience like the internet is totally firewalled and stuff. Uh, and then Beijing had some very like modern, luxurious malls. They were building like a surprising number of pedestrian bridges across this. There was like sort of a bunch of malls along this main street, and then a bunch of like bridges over the street with like walking above. Like there was like a second level of sidewalk kind of outside all the malls on this street, and they were building even more of those. So there was these little pockets that had like, and there was a massive like pedestrian street in sort of the downtown core. But it felt like it's interesting in Beijing. I guess it just feels like the corners are like razor sharp and unexpected. So you can't. It just feels like in Beijing you can't let your guard down. Like you always have to be like making sure that whatever like rules are in this new place that you're following them. Like there's sign like you can't take pictures in certain directions, like kind of arbitrarily, and they're like always checking you, and there's always like a police fanned out like watching people. There's cameras. Like it feels like you're always like reviewing in your head like am I following all the rules, and then if like there was like really nice parks with sort of like like I don't know historical ancient like buildings from previous whatever empires, but you pay for all those parks, I guess, and then you like it's ticketed and stuff, and there's like long lines, very like super crowded long lines to get into parks, lots of people in the parks, uh, and then if you go outside the parks, the city is kind of chaotic, just like traffic, smoke, like cigarette smoke, like cracked sidewalk construction. At one point we were just walking. We like cut down like a side street in a neighborhood, and there was like construction. Like there was construction on the main road, so we like cut down a side road. There's more construction, but like on a smaller scale on the side neighborhood road. And then like the guy's like, "Oh yeah, you can get through this way." And we walk down like about 100 meters, and there's like uh there was like buildings right up to the side of the street, and then like sandbags on the ground, and then a car like the entire width of the street, and then like a hole in the street. And it was sort of just like it was like, oh, we just physically like can't get through this street at this moment, so we like rerouted. But it was sort of just the whole experience in Beijing was like if you don't have like a second and a third plan, like you'll just be like walking on a sidewalk and it just like there's a like some barricade or block or like a car fully parked across it or uh, like something that will injure you if you're not like paying attention. And
Uh-huh.
yeah, I guess also the electric scooters, the bikes, like yeah, if you're walking on it, like at any moment, if you're outdoors, there could be like a very fast e-bike going past you. And even if you're crossing the street with a crosswalk sign, there's going to be like one or two bikes that are going to go through that crosswalk. And like you have to, like, it never stops. Like you have to step out and cross the entire street while bikes are hurtling towards you, and they don't slow down at all. At most, they will adjust like 1 degree left or right to like go in front of you or behind you. But
Uh-huh.
you sort of it's sort of like a deer in the headlights thing a lot of the time where I'm like crossing the street looking left and I'm just seeing this bike fly towards me, and you're sort of like like I want evidence they slow down before I sort of fully commit. But they're like, it's like very clear they're not slowing down, so you just kind of freeze a bit and they like adjust around you, and then
Uh-huh.
it's just sort of like it sort of just feels like you just feel on edge, even yeah, it was very like a low key stress the entire time, even though you're seeing like pretty cool stuff at moments. You always have like your guard up and you're like watching and thinking and planning. But yeah, it was sort of like, other than that, it was similar. But in Singapore, it just felt like you could go anywhere, do anything, and it's all like completely safe and clean, and the corners are all like protect. Like there's no sharp corners. You can just kind of feel pretty relaxed. Like right from landing, it just feels very relaxed. Everything's like good signage, clear, uh, very safe, and yeah, you just kind of like people. Traffic is, they do that permitting thing with the traffic, but I think there's still a lot of cars. But it was surprising how many, like, you're always in like a place that is protected from like car noise, and there's bridges over the street and tunnels under the street, and yeah, a lot of the gardens are just fully removed. Like I never saw like a noisy highway through any sort of park. It was very like well separated versus
Mm.
yeah, just every other park I've seen. The city like puts at least one road that completely wipes the park with noise. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds quite nice overall, although yeah, we also be stressed out and that type of city environment. Uh,
Mhm.
yeah, the traffic stuff and the surveillance. I feel like it
Yeah,
gets
it was
me in
so.
San Francisco, but I feel like it's probably a little more
Hmm.
intense in Beijing if I had to guess. But,
Yeah, for a while I was waiting for like the e-bike, the full like motorcycle e-bike to kind of make its way to North America in a big way. Like I would imagine a lot of people would start riding that to the point where it becomes difficult to like enforce traffic laws. And I guess I saw that a little bit in San Francisco with like DoorDash people would like just kind of go where they need to go, but it wasn't like a guarantee that like, you could often walk on a sidewalk and just people would not, you wouldn't be like feel like you're just always vulnerable to like fast e-bikes. There wasn't enough.
yeah,
But yeah, definitely in Beijing, it's like a never ending. It's funny there, like
yeah,
no matter what, every line, like any line you're in, you can like if you could let like an infinite number of people go in front of you because the surge like never stops. So you always have to just kind of at some point just choose when to like sort of push your way in. Uh, and it's funny, it's like it's not like being polite like because there's people lined up behind you, so you have to like do your job to like push through because they're like waiting. Uh, so it's kind of funny that like switching that mentality to like there's no amount of people you can let in front of you that you'll ever have like a window to just go when it's low traffic. It just keeps going.
uh-huh. Yeah, you just have to force it. Yeah, yeah, it's a little different.
But how
But yeah, that's cool.
what have you been up to over the last bit? You mentioned at some point your back was acting up.
Oh yeah, man, that was yeah. I'm sort of I'm almost fully healed. But yeah, it was like real bad. Like I for a while just like couldn't walk and.
Yeah, I noticed
But
because I hadn't been sitting very long for these 2 weeks. So when I got back, like for the last 3 days, I've just been doing regular work days, and I noticed like my back was getting a bit tight. So I've been trying to like stretch it a lot because of all just like suddenly like sitting for 3 days after not much for a few weeks. But what do you
yeah.
think triggered your back in this case?
Gosh, I don't know. Yeah, I've had issues in the past, like lower back stuff, but yeah, nothing close to this. Um, like my guess is I started like thing a little bit at the beginning of the year, and I think I just like yeah, I don't know, pulled like taking weights off of the rack. I think in particular, like just a little
Oh yeah.
haphazardly. Um, yeah, I don't know, but there was never anything that was just like oh like immediate sharp pain or anything like that. It was just kind of like it just got worse and worse until I was just like it was so painful. But
Wow.
then yeah, I yeah when I finally yeah completely unmanageable, they gave me like drugs and it like has been on the upswing ever since then. Like, I think it just like relaxed everything. Like I only took the drugs like once. Like I didn't really because I don't really
Right.
like how they make me feel. Like I never took them after that. Um, and yeah, so now I'm doing a little better. And life is good. It's like a real like
Oh
don't
yeah.
know, like parable or something. It's like yeah, like things can be so much worse. But yeah, things are back to just sort of normal feeling, and I'm like super happy. So yeah, that was some of my ordeal over the past couple of weeks, I guess.
Yeah, my parents were here the whole time, like a week before I left, and looking after my cat. And they were here. They
Mm,
just left earlier today, on their flight. So they were around like for the past. Well, I guess I got back last Saturday, so they've been here like this previous week. Uh, my dad was mentioning his like some back issues. I guess I forget what event like triggered it off, but he was saying shortly before, like while he was shortly before he got here and while he was here, he felt like his back was pretty tight and it was like difficulty sleeping and stuff. So yeah, they
yeah,
gave him some stuff, but I think it sort of
nice.
healed on its own. Yeah,
That's good.
yeah,
Yeah, it's like funny
mhm.
having different people like that I know like empathizing, being like, oh, like I've been there. And it's like a little
Yeah.
coalition of people with back pain, like giving me like all manner of advice on what to do. It's kind of sweet, but yeah.
Yeah, I've had like sometimes like minor, strains or pulls or something in the back, but never enough. Like I've always been able to continue kind of doing most more normal things, just being stiff in like some directions. And at different times, I don't know exactly what, like, I think my back has always just been minorly like light muscle pulls or something. But that one like Superman stretch, I always find like that's sort of a bit
Mm,
magical whenever I have, yeah, like so if I want to like reset my back and just kind of also strengthen it, I do that Superman stretch. And but it only works obviously for like minor back like imbalances or something. But I find if it's like a minor thing, it works for me. It like work has always worked like immediately, like
mm,
tensing those muscles and relaxing them. Then it does a good job of like realigning or something.
nice. Yeah, yeah, it's a fine line. Yeah, trying different like PT stuff, and it's like, yeah, it's an interesting like trying to yeah, not do too much, but also not too little. Then it kind of sucks not being able to run. It's like
Right.
now where
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I just don't like. I probably could, but I don't want to like aggravate again at the moment. So
Yeah, I
Yeah, I
haven't
don't
I
know.
haven't ran. I think since my parents got here like 4 weeks ago, I haven't ran. I didn't run at all on vacation, so I'll have to be like
Mm,
careful getting back into it. Do like small distance.
yeah. It's like a big thing for it's like feeling good for me, probably for a lot of long distance runners, I guess.
We
How's
really need some kind of like a VR headset where we like if we have any sort of issues, it would be nice to just be able to lie like find whatever position is ergonomic and just put on like a headset to be able to do like let's say video games or work or movies, just be able to like be in a completely whatever position because right now, it's basically like a desk or a TV couch sort of situation. You have to be able to like sit
yeah,
comfortably like that, but I feel like the that's another like innovation of like whenever we get like good mixed reality VR, it's really going to mean that like a large portion of our activities can just be done in complete like while walking or lying down, and that opens up a good like free range of motion without being fixed to a desk. Like if we want to just play a video game, you're kind of just exposing your back to like more back and neck and everything.
yeah, yeah. That's
Yeah.
a good point. Better access. Yeah. Is your wife still in China? She
Yeah.
doing well?
She yeah, I left Beijing to come back here, and she went from there to her hometown, a couple maybe like 5 hour train trip away from Beijing, and then uh yeah, she's having a good visit, and she doesn't come back until like May 25th. So basically like almost a
Oh,
month
nice.
from now she'll get back. Yeah.
Yeah,
So it'll be
I might.
interesting. Yeah, like it's funny to be on like a vacation where you have things to do every day, then came back here and my parents were here, so we've been doing stuff. But now
Mm,
this is like the first few hours of being just on my own with, just with my cat in the house in the
mm,
apartment. And now it'll be I sort of have like 25 days to like get into a routine or whatever or sort of occupy myself, do different activities. And that's always it's like a
yeah,
fun challenge. I feel like I always enjoy trying to like fill my days, but then I also kind of enjoy like the moments where I feel like a bit like bored or lonely. I feel like it's like a rare opportunity to just kind of have no like less and less external things and just be faced with the challenge of trying to like find entertainment for oneself without like
yeah,
other people just kind of like grouping up or something. Yeah.
yeah. I relate to that strongly. I feel like uh, yeah, I've been trying to like do, and also um, like I find myself when I have that like downtime, like not like around my partner or friends or whatever, like I feel like I too quickly fill it with like uh, like internet people, like like podcasts, like
Yeah.
that are like like a certain type of podcast or YouTube that's like min max or something
Yeah.
that like can also like fill that void. And that's something I'm like trying to like wean myself off of now, um, which I'm like slightly successful so far. Just to be like, just to embrace like
Yeah.
silence and stillness. Like yeah, and like to not like on my runs and stuff. Well, yeah, I haven't done that for a while, but for the back stuff, yeah, just to be able to like think a little clearer. Because yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'm probably have like a small addiction to uh, just like people. I guess like people like
That's a
stimulation.
funny
Yeah,
it's a funny way to put it, like an addiction. Like
yeah,
it's like uh yeah, because I always feel if like if anything is sort of encoded into humans or is kind of what we're like supposed to do or very expected is just like relationships and interacting with people, and like in some sense everything we do is like indirectly sort of it's generating like experiences that the only point is to like share them with the next person we meet, or do we're either like doing experiences with other people, or like watching other people do experiences, or doing an experience that we're gonna later like relate to someone else.
Hmm.
uh
Totally.
yeah, and
Yeah,
it
it's
feels like, yeah, because it's sort of, yeah, it's interesting to, yeah, wonder. I often, that's actually what I wonder a lot, like when I'm on my own, is like sort of fighting the, like eventually after like many days of being on my own, it's like fighting the feeling of, does any of this matter? Or like even like me
mm,
observing other people do, like everything kind of loses meaning, because it's sort of just like uh like if everything is in my, yeah, sort of, it becomes, yeah, it's like a hard feedback thing where you want to sort of do a project to have to matter, but then if there's not many people around, it's like no one's there to like observe the project. So then does the project matter? But then it's hard to get, it's like a feedback loop of hard to get motivation and stuff when it feels like nothing's really, you can't like see other people and things going on. So it feels like nothing's going on. And uh, it's interesting.
yeah, I think that's a good insight. I feel like it's like almost impossible to create meaning when you're like if you're just completely alone with like no like yeah, people to talk to, or just like complete isolation. I feel like it's like near impossible to create meaning like of daily life in the way that I don't know people do to just you know uh,
Yeah.
to get on with their lives and um, but yeah I don't know I feel like I've had that struggle a bit too but
It's
I feel like
interesting
I
that, oh yeah, go ahead. Go on.
no yeah what was I gonna just yeah something about like creating downtime for myself like I like real downtime that's like generative um
Hmm.
uh yeah I feel like is something I've been thinking about but go ahead yeah.
Yeah, actually, yeah, a little like, yeah, you mean like real downtime where you really try to give yourself permission to like, do nothing and accomplish nothing, and because that's something that
Yeah.
I also feel, yeah, like I keep doing like an inventory of like, I've been going like nonstop, every day on vacation we did something, and then just came back and started hanging out with my parents, and I sort of feel, and then I was also working like this past week, uh, and so yeah, just feeling sort of like it's, and then I was sort of thinking like, well, what am I going to do now that I'm on my own? Now I have some time to like get back into a project, and it's this moment where I sort of feel like I should figure out some amount of time where I make sure that I don't do anything, because it just doesn't, it like defies logic that I would be able to just like roll into the next thing and keep going. I feel like, at
Mm.
least like seven days in, I'll be burnt out. I need to find like some kind of sustainable, that means like one day a week has to be the day where I very intentionally stop myself from doing stuff just to recharge, even if I don't like feel it.
Mhm. Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
the other, my thought was, the danger now is like, I guess, chatbots, because I could really see like a person gets lonely, you burn, like you listen to,
Yes.
like, let's say you listen to a bunch of like parasocial videos, podcasts, then you feel lonely, you do all your activities, and there's like sort of a, I guess, the void where we just want to sort of like almost like think, like it becomes like hard to think without like a second half of the conversation anywhere. And so then like if it's sort of like, it's like, well, if I just think out loud and maybe even like voice chat with a chat bot, or type some thoughts into a chat bot, at least it's gonna like, maybe we assume it's gonna just completely do nothing and give like a vague weird response, but it still is like a two-sided sort of like, it's maybe like a little bit of momentum going there, and then just makes it easier to like think in like a conversational way. uh and so then that's like the slippery slope, I feel, where then like it gives you some like maybe encouragement, or it becomes like, it makes it like then we don't develop at all the muscle of like just thinking in complete monologue. We then like need the crutch of like some kind of thing to just sort of reword our messages and bounce them back. And then yeah, but then I guess it gets dangerous if like you start sort of personifying it and then like depending on that, and that seems like a slippery slope where you fall like in a trap where you're sort of replace like then you feel less of a need to like go, you end up like not going to like a meetup or something that you sort of could arrange, or like reaching out to friends that might like meet up. You end up sort of gaslighting yourself longer that it's like, oh, I have this, then that takes the edge off of like the loneliness. So then I guess I don't need to like, do any sort of groundwork to like find, humans to hang out with. And that could
Yeah.
lead to like, like a more of a crash out or less, all of a sudden like, but I guess that's an interesting, like almost, there's not much information. Like they talk about like the AI chatbot, like psychosis and stuff, and people sort of getting like addicted to that. But it feels a bit unknown in terms of like what, let's like classify it as like a drug. Then like what is the dose and how, like we don't really know about the limits, the dose, the effects, what to do, what is like proper use, and but like what is like harmful. It's sort of like
Yeah.
it's like an unknown thing. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's something I like sort of tangentially know a fair bit about just because
Mm.
like my like I have like friends that work directly on like AI intimacy stuff and like
Yeah.
researching like this type of thing. Um, and it's like yeah, I don't know. It's really increasingly like concerning for me like it's on like on a personal level almost like because I feel like I have um well I think like at a base level it's just like these companies sort of like preying on people's isolation in a very like um
Right. Yeah, preying on
uh,
it and profiting the more that like if they
yeah
do something to generate more loneliness, that profit, it's bad to have those
yeah
incentives aligned. Yeah.
yeah, and it's like, yeah, I'm kind of like, oh, like is it like that different than the parasocial stuff? And it's like there's similarities, but I also think it's like real nefarious. Um and uh, yeah, in the way that I can like try to, create this direct line to people and like sort of fool people into certain behaviors and like validating whatever you say and the psychosis stuff. But yeah, I don't know. Like I feel like more and more people that I like, uh, maybe I don't have like as much of a like natural skepticism or something towards like technology and or are more lonely. I'm like worried about them because I have like there's so many people I know that use it constantly, and I feel like I don't want to be like I don't know like a yeah, like I mean, people can do whatever they want, but I also yeah, I'm like, oh, like I just think like no matter what you like go into it, like like the goal of those companies, I probably to a T is to get you is to sort of fool you into like thinking this is your friend and that you need it, like on a deeply human level for like everything and for validation, for like love, like all these like,
Yeah.
and and maybe you can resist that or but at a certain point I'm just like I think it'll become more and more difficult for people. Like the AI like the psychosis thing that's like uh some small-ish percentage of people that use it right now. Like, who knows? But my guess is that's just going to grow and grow and grow. I don't know. Yeah, I'm a little, I'm a little afraid of that future,
Yeah.
but yeah,
It would be like if we compare it to like the number of people that like need a car and the number of people that need their phone. And then especially people that like they need like they can't, can't even navigate without a phone. So there's I guess there's like let's say 90% of people right now like they need a phone and a car and they feel unable to do a single thing without those two things. And then like AI is some kind of third thing there. Like now I don't know if it stacks like every, most people you meet will have a car, a phone, and AI, and they'll just sort of need
yeah,
access to all those three things, or else they, yeah, it's like the three things they just sort of can't function without. And I don't even in that triangle, like AI is only one of those three things, and it's questionable. Like, is it worse? Is it even as bad as the two, phone and like constant internet access and or like let's say like
yeah,
constant internet social media in a car? Is AI worsening that or maybe even balance like if AI can convince you to not drive the car once or something, maybe that does something, but
yeah.
then
I
it also
mean,
could be worse in other ways. Yeah.
yeah. I think it is interesting to compare it to other dependencies that um have been like I don't know, uh, sort of manufactured, um, like like Google search and like I feel like there's all sorts of like little tech
Yeah.
things, or it's just like impossible. Like smartphones. I feel like it's just like increasingly like probably makes your life very difficult to try to live without a smartphone, in like most places in the U.S. at least. Um,
Right.
yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
Hmm.
it's like it is interesting to compare in cars for sure, but yeah, it certainly doesn't seem good. It's like it's another bad thing. Is like is like one thing that I could uh, is my impression.
I
Yeah.
remember maybe about like 10 years ago now, for a short amount of time, I felt like I was sort of feeling like I want more like companionship. Like I didn't have a girlfriend or a wife or anything. Like this number of years ago, it was like sort of the beginning of my computer science degree. And I remember having sort of a thought where I thought it would be interesting to sort of just develop like I was envisioning it as if like how because actually I just before I did this vacation I was playing through like the first like Halo campaign, and so
Uh-huh.
but even back then, like at some point I read the Halo books like when I was in like high school or something, and so then at the time about 10 years ago I was thinking like it would be cool to have like an AI assistant in my head, just like how like the Master Chief has Cortana, and
Uh-huh.
like in my situation it would sort of be like role playing with myself. Like I thought it'd be
Yeah.
cool because I'm very like mission oriented. I'm very like like I want to accomplish these things during the day and I'm gonna do this. And like sometimes during a race, you're sort of like managing your water and stuff, and it feels like, oh, I'm like on a mission and I got to check these levels and I got to like navigate here. And it would be fun to just have like pretend sort of that part of my head is like this AI assistant that would just kind of check in and almost be like Overwatch for my situation. And I could sort of explain to myself or like to this fake AI in my head that like what I wanted to accomplish and how I felt about like my timing and even like how I emotionally felt. Like should I, maybe I should take it easy. And like the AI could pretend sort of that like I could respond to myself pretending I was the AI being sort of like uh, you know, making sure my heart rate was good or my stress levels were low, or like, I could sort of hype myself up if I was going for something, and it would feel sort of like I'm more of like I have this back and forth like team oriented thing where like one part of me is like the cold calculating like schedule watching like sort of thinking part, and then the other part is like sticking to the plan and like reporting the conditions or whatever. And that felt that was like interesting to me, and I never ended up like doing that very much. Uh, but I've noticed like when I was a kid, I had a couple like imaginary friends that I would think about sometimes, like their different personalities, and pretend like I would, speak, like talk to myself in different people's voices, imagining like these different characters. And for like I guess many times I've thought of like echoes of that, where in different situations I would think of sort of different personalities and like how they would see this like situation or see what I'm doing, or like banter back and forth with me about like what I'm seeing. Uh,
Mm.
and that, but then I guess when I thought about particularly, like this was like way before, like no, 10 years ago, nobody was talking about like chatbots or actual AI assistants. I just sort of had this image of like, it would be cool. I was sort of thinking like in lieu of having the actual technology of Cortana and being able to like plug that into my head, it would be fun to just pretend that was the case, or like experiment with, would that allow me to just kind of be a little bit more like self-motivated or something. Uh,
Mm.
but now that like sort of seeing the rollout of like chatbots, and then kind of uh like it, I guess it's kind of, you could probably get like Cortana's voice and like hook it up to ChatGPT and do the prompt, and then it, like, you could kind of simulate that, like everyone's pretending that they have these agents that can do that and manage your calendar and everything, but like they obviously can't yet. But we're closer to like that being a reality. But now that that's like theoretically possible, I feel like the best version is like my total fake version, like the one where it is just me talking. It's like me talking to myself, because like in some sense, like AIs lie anyway, but in some sense it doesn't matter what the answer is. Like we just want to think thoughts and then have like someone else sort of respond with what seems like fresh thoughts, but those fresh thoughts could be just totally like kind of random or reassuring, or uh, pushing us a bit to like go further. And so then, yeah, that's an interesting thing to me, where it's like maybe some of the like defense against this is just like, just like role play with oneself, or like create an imaginary friend that you get like attached to, but also keep in mind it is just you sort of being creative and playing games in your own head, and but that is just as entertaining as like someone else designs like a cheap like mimic of that sort of thing. And uh like that'll never
Yeah.
be as good, it'll never be like it's never going to be like the perfect thing no matter what, but we can always daydream or something like that, or like do these in-depth like whatever it's called, like when people do like a very thorough, detailed like think through of a certain situation, and then it sort of helps them perform better like in that situation.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I feel like yeah, I feel maybe it like coincides with the like rising popularity of role play in general, where
Right.
like, uh,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
I
a
think,
totally another thing. Is it would be great to just like have like some kind of cheap like a hotline that costs the same as ChatGPT subscription, that you could just call and talk to someone who, like, you could even give them a prompt about who they should pretend to be, and at a moment's notice, like, you just sort of hire this virtual assistant, and whenever you want to like role play a little bit with whatever other character you've created, you could just like call them and banter back and forth a little bit, just to like, because that's just something that people want occasionally, and it's not more expensive than AI, especially AI is like
yeah,
subsidized.
yeah. I feel like yeah, it's like sort of a yeah, just like some version of like forums and like yeah, but I guess
Oh
a
yeah,
little more screened
yeah.
and like yeah, just like how the internet which also has pros and cons for sure, but where it's like when the internet was real people, I guess, before I don't know, before it became like more algorithmically and bot driven. Um,
Yeah, I never had
yeah.
that experience of like being on a forum. Like I would always just like read forums. Maybe I would post a question, like get no answers. I never had
Mm,
the experience of like finding a community where I would like start engaging and then like feel like either in somewhat real time or like consistently I would like meet like other personalities in this little forum. I never experienced that really at all. But I know like a lot of
yeah.
people mentioned that. mentioned doing something like that.
Yeah, I'm trying to. Yeah, I feel like I had just like yeah, brief dalliances. I guess, yeah, I feel like I had like a lot more friends that I would like regularly talk to, like growing up and in college, and now it's like, some of those friends I've held on to, but they, live in different places, or, it's just like not as much regular contact. And now I'm kind of like, oh, I could use more of like the, or like, making, friends with people nearby me would be great, though it's difficult. But also,
Mhm.
yeah, just more of the like sort of like, online little communities of people that sort of know and or like some connection to. Um,
I've been feeling that like really the internet and technology should always be like nudging us back to the real world and like nudging
mm,
us to make, it should be like just like turning on the computer should just kind of seamlessly lead us to meeting up the people with the people around us and then the computer should slowly fade away until we're just sort of meeting up other people. Like I feel
mm,
like if we start from like people are talking to chatbots today, let's just replace the chatbots with like role players on the other end of like a phone line, and then we have people talking to, let's say, like a warehouse full of people in another country. Everyone's just like chatting with them, but then those people could use the locations of those chatting and the topics to start to like recommend like two people in that are living nearby that are talking about the same topics would get like looped in, and maybe it's like a three-person conversation at some point, or then just them two, then uh sort of like a little bit of help like booking, like suggesting meetups or something, and then we get back to like then just, if people are, yeah, it would sort of be a pipeline of like people chatting with chatbots being passed off to humans being matched up with other people around them to then just people having communities, and the tech like kind of fades into the background until it's like needed again if somebody moves or wants to get like connected.
yeah, yeah. It's I feel like it's like a very like cool idea of like a technology that sort of disintegrates itself, but
Mm.
or like like fixes a problem through its like that makes the technology itself like become more obsolete. Um, yeah, I guess like
Mm.
the issue is like profit incentives, like not like the 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 OpenAI doesn't want you to like stop using its chatbot type of thing.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, if yeah, I guess designing a technology that way for like an existing world is a very cool idea. Yeah,
Yeah, I feel like the more we view like the current internet and how it's kind of bad, and we know we sort of zero in on the negative effects, and the more we sort of envision, like if a new social network came out that like kind of was doing what I was describing, I feel
yeah,
like if I saw that, I feel like I have a lot of like disposable income that I would direct towards that, and like it would sort of be like finally like something I can just dump like money into that would actually like start to have like a proven, like I would have to, like after the first few people like went through it and seemingly were like living their best life uh afterwards, I just feel like I would be very excited to like invest money or time like in that technology in a way that I'm very like skeptical or not willing to like pay for tech these days because it always like extracts more value from me than delivers. And
yeah,
so yeah, it's like as people are becoming wise, it's like the current businesses, we see them like very plainly for what they are, and they need to convince us once again, like as Facebook once did, like it's gonna give you all these friends, and then it just actually you get a lot less friends uh, but as it extracts like value from you. But if technology, like if another new business could actually do it or convince us that this is going to help you like live a real life, uh, I feel like that would be at least it could still be like fake companies tricking us, but that's the next like level of trick. I guess at some point it's like they need to trick us so well that they're actually just delivering us what we want perfectly, and like, but if they are, then take, it's like take all my money if I leave with everything I do want afterwards.
Uh-huh. Yeah, something that you feel actually good about
Yeah.
paying for. Yeah. I guess yeah, it's like I feel like what you're describing melds well with my like understanding of like a good like mass movement sort of organization like like if
Mm.
that like because I feel like it's ideally like that type of thing is just all about connecting people to do what they wanted to do, and like build people power for lack of a better phrase.
Mm.
And it's yeah, I mean it's just like super difficult, obviously, but
Yeah.
yeah, and it like yeah, and, like I would not feel comfortable just like any single organization, even ones that I like really believe in the work they're doing, and like I feel like uh, there's so much there's a ways to go uh,
Mm.
to create those type of structures because it's I don't know, it's just hard to connect people. It's hard to like personally to connect with people, and I don't know, maybe it's just like the world being what it is. It's just I feel like more difficult than ever. But um, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it feels like if the internet had the ideal structure, then simply just like living life and using the internet would deliver value to us and like,
Mm,
surprise and delight us, rather than like so much of the way the internet is structured right now. It's like negative, anti patterns, and isolating. But yeah, it's
yeah.
like somebody like it's very fun to think about it because it's like some smart people need to come up with like a very simple, like in retrospect, very obvious, like simple structure for like the next iteration of the internet. Or maybe one just like they need to come up with the ability for that to evolve naturally. Just the way like the cost of certain host, like the cost of hosting or something, maybe comes down once it drops below a certain point. I feel
Mm,
like there's the that's one ingredient for a new internet to sort of like emerge, that people start using and thinking about in a different way, until one day, like, yeah, just logging on and using the internet is like, just as seamless as it kind of is now. Like it's hard to avoid using the internet. So then just assuming that everyone just sort of uses the internet as their life, but if it's structured in such a way that, uh, yeah, it just causes us to form like the communities and interest groups and hobbies we want or something.
yeah, yeah, just like yeah, because it feels like it's trending away from like everything's centralizing and
Yeah.
becoming more algorithmic and you know, propaganda and censorship is like sort of increasing out like everywhere with the internet. But I guess like just like reversing that, I don't know, or yeah, building an entirely new structure somehow. But yeah, it's hard. It's like yeah, I feel like I like recently like just deleted my like Blue Sky. I was like,
Oh, yeah.
well, I I get like and that's not even an algorithm really like but it like I'm like I get some useful like context and information here, but I think it sort of doesn't, it's not providing me with like I can also get that from a book, and it's not like giving me anything else really.
Right.
And it like is still sort of activating all the like emotional stuff that makes me
Mm.
compulsively log into it when I don't want to. Um, so I don't know. Yeah, I'm yeah. I had a some moment of clarity, like maybe just after my horrible back pain, where I was like doing like literally nothing, like sort of helped me reset a little. So yeah, I tried to take advantage of that and, and delete some apps and things that I was didn't want to be
I
using.
guess if like if something like Discord, the company goes bad, like maybe Blue Sky could morph into like if we just like we if we we have like the social connections we want on Discord, let's say, that could be reestablished using like the Blue Sky protocol and like the Blue Sky interface for the time being, and
Mm,
then maybe that would emerge into like a Blue Sky interface like Discord that you could just kind of video chat and group up with your Blue Sky friends. Maybe you do have to pay something like a Nitro fee, but you'd be like paying it to some third party company that just uses the Blue Sky protocol to just give you the experience of Discord using the Blue Sky graph and stuff. Uh,
mm.
and then if it as long as it like stays like because yeah, I think it's true that Blue Sky like you could still block everyone and just whitelist like a handful of people that you exclusively want to see, and then that it's kind of like a one big group chat. And I don't know if you can make like a room or a group on Blue Sky. I guess not really the way it's structured. But if someone like added those features, I feel like as long as like we can just kind of like shut it down completely and then open up like once at a time, like just the one thing that we do want, and like no ads, nothing else comes through, no recommendations. Hopefully
Yeah,
that's, but I don't know how. Yeah, like Blue Sky, when you first start using it, it really does give you all these like starter packs and things, so it's kind of pushing you to like see and join with more people than a person wants to like manually or something.
yeah. It's interesting how it's like it feels a lot closer to something that like would be like really nice and
Mm.
helpful and useful, but it's like still just like it's just not
Right.
quite there
Yeah.
for me at least. Uh,
Yeah, I have an account, but the first time I started using it, it felt like this is like there was a couple like semi famous people like Ed Zitron makes like a newsletter. He talks about AI a lot, and
mm,
he like made a post, and then I replied to it with like a dumb joke or something, and he like liked my post, and so it gave me the feeling of like this is cool. Like I'm just like in my apartment, I get a message, I make a joke, and I get a like from like someone who has like credibility, in something. And it felt like, oh,
uh-huh,
cool, like a little quick connection where I feel like, cool, like I entertained like someone that entertains me a lot. But I feel like that kind of went away pretty quickly. Like then I saw my feed like kind of change, and it got more crowded, and people, go through these cycles of like everyone's angry like on it. And so then
yeah,
it
yeah,
was just not it like that. Those early days like disappeared so fast.
yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like fleeting and and I'm just like never sure. It's like such a weird, like it's like I don't know, somebody who like like there's like one example was like this writer I like a lot, Naomi Klein, uh, like maybe like some post that I disagreed with, like I don't know, it was like about some politician. And I was just kind of like, I mean, I just think she just doesn't know, you know, everything
Yeah.
about this politician. Like that's fine, like that's totally fine. But then it's just like like 100 different people like saying how she's suddenly a horrible person, and it's like like I'm just like she has like written some like seminal works of like like she is like incredibly like influential in a way like that I respect and like teaches like many students and all these things, and I don't know, it's like yeah, one, like are these even real people, like maybe they're bots, maybe they're
Uh,
trolls, like I don't know, but then two, like if this is like the reaction that is like becoming normalized on this site, it's like, well, I don't know if this is this is the way to do it. Like, I don't know. Yeah.
My friend told me he was reading a book. I guess it was by Naomi Klein, where she gets mistaken for Naomi Wolf a lot, and
Yeah.
wasn't it
Her most
like I guess
recent book, yeah.
yeah, and that was
Doppelganger.
interesting to me. I don't know if I have enough. I don't tend to follow like particular authors, so I never really can sense like I don't know if I would. It's an interesting premise for a book, and I think it seems like it goes in some interesting directions. But I feel like a lot of it would go over my head, with missing context of their careers or something.
Yeah, I quite like it. That's actually the only I've only read that book of hers, and
But
I've only read
did you
like
have
half
to
of it.
do they like
Uh,
it? Because I basically don't. I just have heard the names Naomi Klein, Naomi Wolf. I don't know anything about them. Does the
yeah,
book
I
start
found it
from
very
scratch?
accessible. Like,
Hmm, that's
it's
cool.
like I think she tries to make her writing really accessible. I've read like a lot of her essays and stuff, uh,
Hmm.
and yeah, I think yeah, it definitely goes places, and sort of like yeah, like tries to diagnose like our current moment or like this through this like doppelganger politics or something. Like it's like a little, it goes places, but I think she's just like a good writer. Um, like probably it's um, I don't know. I haven't gotten to the end, but um, I would recommend for yeah people. Like there's some books that I've gotten where I'm like I get 2 pages in and I'm like I just don't think I can do this. Like it's just like so dense. Like it's really cool, but it's just so dense. But this is not a book like that to me. It's like very very readable. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll keep it in mind for whenever I feel like reading a book in the future. Or actually, there's a
Yeah.
couple of physical bookstores. If I find it in a bookstore, I always like, yeah, if I hear about a book, see it in a bookstore as I'm walking around, I'd probably buy it. And then if I have the physical book, I'll definitely start like reading it. So that's interesting. Next time I'm out, I'll look.
Nice. Yeah. She's Canadian as well.
Oh yeah,
If
that's
I
cool.
yeah think so. Yeah.
Yeah. My other thing was, yeah, I guess before I did vacation, I was working on that like 40 minutes of hip hop. And I don't know how
Mm,
many minutes I ended up writing. I never recorded anything. uh, and I don't know. It felt useful, like trying to write so much quantity, like really got the muscles working. But the quality I could tell was sort of like it feels like it's not meaningful. It's just sort of like getting the job done, sort of lyrics. So then
mm,
I'm not motivated to like continue that or like finish it. But then I also yeah I played through the Halo 1 campaign before I left, and I screen recorded that, and so I think I'm gonna write like a rap, some kind of hip hop rap that does something with the first campaign in Halo. Uh, and I was
nice.
re-listening to some of my old hip hop. I sort of had a bit of a revelation that like when I was talking to that voice coach, they were talking about how like I was saying, like my voice is kind of monotone, and like I agree that songs are better when there's like emphasis and the voice is interesting. So they were sort of talking with me a little bit about how to like bring more emphasis and interest in my voice. But then I thought that something that's very specific to like my personality that I like is when you watch like movies where like an action hero or like a operative or something, or like a like a Splinter Cell type character, they'll be like doing a bunch of action. There's like an insane amount of stuff happening, but they stay like completely calm, and like you can see their expression. Like it's not like they'll get hurt, they'll get like scared or whatever, they'll get like confused, but they're sort of just
Mm,
like hyper. It's like this cold, like they're just like on the radio. They're like reporting what's happening and taking
mm-hmm.
instructions over the radio in like a really calm, like focused manner when like insane stuff's going on. And so that's actually like that really appeals to me, that sort of like uh like like descriptive prose on the radio, while maintaining like a cold, calm, like clear voice. in the midst of like chaos. Uh, and so then I was listening to sort of like my Astroneer like rap, and I thought like it's kind of cool when I'm like if I'm describing a bunch of complex or interesting or like harrowing feats or something, but I'm like there's not like emotion in my voice. It's kind of like invoking that sense of like this more like this practice professional that is doing things and like kind of like stating things and doing things that are uh like a little bit like almost like bragging or epic, but that like they've done it so many times, they've practiced it that it's just not it doesn't they don't like have this in your face or like offensive or excited like sound in their voice. They're just kind of like reporting it as like as if it's like a weather report or something. Uh,
Yeah, yeah,
and I guess the thing is that that probably won't end up like unless I do it exactly right where people like understand that's what I'm going for. It won't be like a mainstream thing. But I feel like this is something that like thinking about that as I write like a story for Halo and I wrap it. I feel like that's interesting because that kind of is like the Master Chief is like fighting a war or whatever, and he's just sort of like reporting back and forth for Corteva or thinking
yeah.
in a cold way about like what needs to be done, not really not
Like the
like getting
ultimate
emotionally tied up.
stoic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, that'll be very cool. I'm excited to hear. Yeah, you rap about that, and I'd also probably will activate various nostalgia for me because I probably haven't engaged with that. Like I don't even really quite remember the story, but I remember loving it when I played it however many years ago. Um,
Yeah, I feel it holds up because there's the Master Chief. You can just buy the Master Chief collection on Steam and then download
oh
each
yeah,
Halo, like Halo 1 all the way to like Halo whatever 4 or something, individually. With that, you can just load them in and out of the game, like the campaign, the multiplayer. I don't know who's on multiplayer, but uh, yeah, the Halo 1 campaign holds up so well, and I dropped back into it like so easily, and I just immediately started like like charging up the plasma pistol to like take out shields and then using the human weapons to like do like a headshot and like sort of like sweeping assault rifle to like clear out like grunts and stuff and like focus
yeah,
on the lead. Or it was so like it was like damn, these weapons are like balanced, and you can just like you run out of ammo, you pick up another, you're sort of like, oh, I killed that guy, like he's gonna have this weapon and that's gonna be effective against this. I never When I played it anytime before, I never thought about like I sort of knew like plasma is better on shields and humans better ones they have no shield, but I never had this like dynamicness of like just going through ammo and reloading and sort of making an assembly of like what two weapons do I want to have for this next like encounter. And when you choose right, it's just like so smooth. You're just like you just wipe out their shields and take them out, and you're sort of like, oh, I chose right like at that point. And that's like
yeah,
just that's such a nice like rhythm to get into.
yeah. That's awesome. I'm glad to hear it holds up like that. Yeah, I played.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I think I played through probably like one, two, and three with my brother. And he actually came and because my partner had to go somewhere, so he came and visited and like just like helped take care of me a little bit when I was like a little less functional. And so that was like really nice. And we one thing we did was we tried to play the latest Gears of War game. And
Oh
we
yeah.
never neither of us had ever played it. Um, and like man, I think we got like half hour in. We were both just kind of like, this is like I don't know like if we've just changed as people or like something. But it was like it was not working on any level for either of us. Like the story, the web, like the actual gameplay of it, just like it was like I don't know. So I'm almost like scared to go back to Halo now and be like, oh, is this gonna? But I don't know. I just feel like
I think
maybe part of it is just like this
yeah.
slow pace is just not my thing. But
Definitely like I sort of fell off playing Halo as I got older. I didn't even play like the higher like 3 and 4 and stuff. But when I did play them like a short amount, and I felt like very detached and confused. It didn't feel at all Like it felt like there's too many things going on, and some are like, the quick time events. It's like, just give me like, just let me like take over the character and play the game. Like I don't need to do like quick time events and all these like
Uh,
items that work. And yeah, so I think that, yeah, games like sort of increasing complexity to where, but yeah, I feel like Halo 1 has got that like minimalistic like
mm,
ingredients for like good game design, and then they just added on more and more complexity to keep it like interesting. But you don't need that complexity. You just need like good level design and music. And uh,
mm,
I just watched actually like Tim Rogers' 3 hour review of Doom, the game,
mm.
and I never played Doom, but he
Like the
like he really,
original.
yeah, original Doom, and he rates it highly. He talks about the map design and the movement and like the speed of it. It's fast, and it's like sort of delivers, what it's very like self-evident. And then he mentions offhandedly like sort of other games that are like, have like too much in them or something. So yeah, I was sort of reminded of that,
Yeah.
of like, yeah, just these new games that they come out and they like innovate and they deliver something like fresh and simple, and they're good. And then yeah, I'd imagine like, I guess Gears of War maybe also was a little bit like you're moving, like the Gears of War 1, I never played it, but like you're moving from cover to cover. It's very like, feels like your character's like hunched and it's fast and you feel like you're shooting behind cover. But then yeah, I don't know what happened with the rest of the Gears of War. I imagine they just got more complex until it doesn't, yeah, it just feels like the game is like a series of new, like they keep, the game like changes as they're like, oh, like press X in this very specific scenario to like do this special move. And you're like, it doesn't feel like I'm doing the move. It just feels like the game is like kind of a cutscene, but like trying to keep me involved somehow.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, maybe yeah, we should have just tried like Gears of 1 or something. It would probably be better. Cuz yeah, once it gets to like Gears 5, I think it was we did. It's just like at that point probably they have no new ideas. They're just like, well, these games sell well, so we have to keep making them.
Yeah.
It's like the new Call of Duties or whatever. Like so, and it just becomes this like weird like amalgamation of like layers of game design that they like can't go back on now. And
Right.
uh, yeah, that's a good
Yeah, I've heard
point.
that. I've heard
Yeah.
that like they make a game and they don't know precisely why it's popular, so they never remove anything. They add some new stuff, but they're so afraid to remove anything because they don't know if that's the thing that made it popular. They can't tell for sure.
Mm,
So then yeah, it just means that they, over time, everything gets added, nothing gets removed. It doesn't stay like lean and lightweight and take risks or something. It just grows until it's got a bunch of stuff that nobody likes. And uh but they can't like test for that without risking stuff.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's really interesting.
Well, yeah, good talk. I guess I'll see you next time
Yeah.
if you're around. Yeah.
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, thanks for talking. Glad you had a good trip.
Hmm. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, glad to hear
All
your
right.
back your back is doing better.
Yeah, me too.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll see you. Bye.